Now, if the past years of the past 5 years haven't been going so well, now is the time to make a difference. Now we must focus on self-development. Self-development means learning from your own personal experience, learning what's gone right in the past and what hasn't gone so right in the past. This is really simple. Learn from what has happened to you in the past 5 years, or maybe 10 years, or even 1 year. Learn from your own past experience. What mistakes have you made for the last few months, years? How can you fix them? How can you correct them going forward for the future? And I've seen some people, I've asked them, what have you been doing for the past 5 years? Like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I suggest we don't do that anymore. You don't do anything for the past 5 years, but yet you can eat, yet you can sleep, yet you can put on clothes, yet you're comfortable. For the last 5 years, you haven't done nothing, and yet you're comfortable. I suggest it's time we stop that. Let that be done with in 2021. This is 2022. I suggest you really become that new you always said you would be. Every year you send a new poster, a new template, a new post. This is the new me. I suggest you become the new you this 2022. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing for the past 5 years, I bet you the next 5 years would be exactly the same. And secondly, if you haven't had such a great experience, if you stood for 5 years, you haven't done anything, maybe it's time to learn from other people's experience. And who are other people's? I'm sure you've got some successful people around you, even your family member, that person who's been on your case to pick up something and do. That person who you think, they're nagging you to become responsible. Your teacher, your friend, your colleague, even your boss. Those are other people. You can learn from these people. What have they been doing the past 5 years that has made them successful? And you don't have to like this person. Particularly most time you don't have to like this person, because most time people hate successful people. They hate them because they're successful. They hate them for some thousands or millions of reasons. You don't have to like that person. Just learn from that person. What have they been doing? What are they good at? Then you can learn from these people's mistakes, where they went wrong, when they decide to change, how they now become successful. I'm sure these people are willing to tell you, because why? They're proud of their past. Especially those with humble beginnings, they're proud of their past. So learn from these people. Don't become too proud to learn from people who are successful. Don't become envious of their hard work. In fact, you should admire and appreciate them, because without them, you probably have no competition to go up against. You probably be so comfortable in your state. And these are one of the reasons you need to move out, associate with different people, learn something new, integrate, get outside your circle, outside your bubble. Because if you grew up where everyone is a failure, then where's the challenge? Why do you have to become successful? Where becoming a failure is the norm. But the great thing of coming from poverty is you can quickly learn from the poor people around you, the failures around you. You can see, this guy's been doing this thing for the past 5 years. I probably shouldn't do that. This guy's that remained in the same position for 5 years. I don't think I want to be that person. So you can actually learn from failure as well as from successes. You can learn from people who have failed in life, as well as you can learn from people who are succeeding in life. Just be willing, have an open mind to learn. So don't become too proud. We learn in different ways. Some will learn by observation. Some people learn by going to school to gather information. And some people learn by going through apprenticeship and actually getting involved in learning. So we learn in different ways. Don't become too proud. There's a lot of people who started as an apprenticeship, they own multiple business these days. Why? Because of what they've become. They've learned the skill day in, day out. And they probably employ most of the people with all the graduate certificate. But you can't be another person. Learn your own way. But the most important thing is be willing and ready to learn. If someone is successful, you should say, wow, I appreciate you. How can I learn from you? Don't be too humble. And now, once you've learned from your own personal experience, good or bad, you've learned from the successful people around you and the failed people around you. And now, number 3 is to go read the books. In whatever field you are venturing into, I'm sure there's successful people in that field already. Read from their stories. Read from their failure stories or their failed stories, and read from their successful stories as well. What did they do wrong? What did they do right? How many times did they fail before they eventually made it? Read. Whatever area you're trying to venture into, read about it. Now, from whatever you've gathered from your personal experience, your past, your failures, from other people's personal experience by talking to them, listening to them, and from what you've read in the book, now it's time to make a plan. Put it down in writing. Don't just live in your head thinking you're gonna get to that one day. Leave it down on a pen and a paper, or record it on somewhere in your phone. Just write it down. Make a plan. Make a plan to start something. Make a plan to do something. Put it down somewhere. When you need it, you know where it is. Start with a plan. There's nothing like waking up to a plan that drives you that gets you out of bed, that say, it's another day, let's go. I suffer from this myself. When I have nothing to do, no to-do list, I probably sleep in longer. But when I have a to-do list, I must get up and go 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I'm up because I'm eager to get it done. So you must build the habit of putting things in paper, things in writing. So for self-development, the number one thing I would say is work hard on yourself. Invest in yourself. Develop the skills in yourself. In whatever you're doing, if it's you in a job, if you're in a personal business, whatever you do, focus on becoming the best in that field. Be there when you're there. Invest in yourself. Develop yourself, because you are a service. You are a service. You as a human, you'd like goose, banana or something. Everyone wants to have the best thing for the best price. So you would become the competition when you develop your skills. So remember, this is a new year, and the only thing you have to do is just commit yourself to yourself for your own personal growth, your own personal development, your own personal change. There is nothing in life that is as sweet as living a dream, seeing a dream come true. And you can only achieve that by a personal change.